Deathsport from 1978. Before there was Mad Max, there was Deathsport. There's a reason why no one remembers Deathsport. Theme song.
Calhoun's Reviews! Calhoun's Reviews!
If you want to watch Deathsport, check the link in the description. At first, I thought this was a Mad Max ripoff, but it came out a year before. So, it's not really a ripoff. Turns out it's kind of a sequel to Deathrace 2000, but only basically in the fact that it's death and it's like a bad future. The characters aren't in any way related or the plot's not the same. The film is kind of a mess. By all accounts, David Carradine and Claudia Jennings were drunk and on drugs throughout the filming. The writer/director allegedly only had 2 weeks to write and pre-produce the script and didn't get along with Carradine. Apparently, Carradine punched him at one point. This led to somebody else doing research to try and salvage the movie. But on the bright side, that is where the research were, where all the nude scenes were filmed. So there you go.
Mostly, we just blew up motorcycles. Lots of them. We also set some mutants on fire, and the stunning Claudia Jennings got naked.
The first half of this film I liked because it is, we're in a post-apocalyptic future. There's a wasteland, and then there's a couple cities. And people are traveling between the cities, and people live in the wasteland. And then when they're traveling on foot or on horseback, and there are mutants that live out there, and then there are also these statesmen, who ride around on motorcycles with weapons on them. Look like they're out of Megaforce, which came out in 82. And they capture Carradine and Jennings characters that were told they're going to be forced to take part in the titular Deathsport. I never really heard of Claudia Jennings. I don't even know her name. Claudia Jennings before. Turns out she's a former Playboy playmate, her an actress, and she was killed in a car crash a year after this came out. Turns out she was in a movie I reviewed a couple of years ago, Sisters of Death. Don't really remember in it. I don't know how big of a part she is. While she does get naked, at one point I thought her character was actually pretty competent. It wasn't just a sex object. Her character gets a lot of the expository dialogue to try to explain what's going on and how things work and what the plan is. So, I mean, she was pretty decent. So it's a shame she didn't get to make more movies. Once they do get to the city, we find out that the head of the statesman, again, is a guy who used to be one of the people who were out in the wasteland, but betrayed Carradine's mom. Apparently Carradine's mom was some big famous person.
We traveled together.
Yes, some time ago, to Triton. I knew O'Shea, your mother. I was with her last year when she died. She fought well. She was truly powerful.
And so he betrayed her and went to live in this evil city.
You call me animal?
We also find out that the head of the city is sick and slowly going mad.
I believe you're a dying man, my lord. I don't know what to call it. Its cause is probably related to long-term radiation exposure. I've never seen anything like this before. I believe that you are losing control of your reasoning faculties.
You mean I'm going mad?
Your brain is decaying, my lord.
Sadly, this is the high point of the movie because the leader going crazy, you think, aha, that's the real story. But no, it gets forgotten out pretty quickly. And it ends up mostly being the grudge the Carradine's character has against the traitor. We hear a lot about the Deathsport, but we don't really get to see it until quite a ways in. And it turns out it's just a bunch of guys on those motorcycles with the disintegration rays hunting down people on foot who have goofy looking swords. And it's just not the slaves that are on foot that captured people, because the scientist who tells the leader that he's sick is also condemned to Deathsport, and his son, but they get on motorcycles. So I don't know who gets to decide who's on motorcycles and who's on foot. Then the film gets boring. They escape. They encounter mutants. Oh, turns out that, hey, remember back when they got attacked. Oh, it turns out the mutants were there and they kidnapped a kid. They have to go kidnap the kid, get the kid back. Then they go to the other city, which seems pretty nice. And the traitor's chasing them the whole time. So is Deathsport worth watching? Not really. I like the world building at the start. I like the juxtaposition of the city and the wasteland. And there's some fun. They try to build like a culture and some language, the wasteland people. But in reality, it's just a half-baked film with lots of motorcycle jumping. And even the stunts, even that's not that particularly spectacular. So I'm going to give Deathsport 1 thumb down. There's half a film here, stretched out to make a full one. At least there are boobs.